Hey everyone, Eric here. In this video, we're taking a look at how to set up a Jazzmaster to get it sounding great and staying in tune and easy to play. So if that sounds good, stick around because we're getting right into it. Hey everyone, Eric here. Welcome to the channel where I make gear demos and instructional videos like this one aimed to help musicians like you. So in this video, we're going to take a look and go over the basic steps to setting up a Jazzmaster. Now, Jazzmasters are kind of notorious for needing a little bit extra attention. And if you follow the channel here, you might have seen this guitar in a video that I posted a few weeks ago where I unboxed this. I just got it in the mail and immediately I noticed that this guitar was not set up in the slightest, even though I was told that it was set up. Okay, so that's gonna need to be fixed. I wanted to make this video because almost everything that could have gone wrong or could not have been addressed in this guitar was, and I thought that would be a great opportunity to share with everyone how to go about setting up a Jazzmaster. Because again, Jazzmasters in general require a couple different things to make them stay in tune optimally and just play their best. So let's go ahead and get into the steps that I had to take to get this guitar, the most affordable Jazzmaster on the market, playing great, staying in tune, and sounding great. So when I took delivery of the Jazzmaster initially, I noticed that some of the tuning pegs, the tuning heads themselves, would slip when I tried to tune up the strings. I needed to upgrade them. I needed to get a replacement. So right off the bat, that's what I had to do. Because there was one tuning peg that kept slipping, it couldn't even get the string up to pitch. And I'm pretty sure that my experience in this specific instance is an isolated incident, but that is something to understand and be aware of, is that guitars that are made this affordably have to cut corners or, sacrifice in some aspects. And one of those aspects is tuners. So these affordable guitars often have pretty lackluster tuners included with them. So that might be one thing that you have to look into upgrading before you can get your guitar staying in tune and playing decently. So after I upgraded the tuners, I took the strings off the guitar and I oiled the fretboard. And another thing that I noticed on my initial playing of the instrument is that when I bent strings, I could feel the grittiness or like the vibrations that the frets were causing because the frets were a little corroded or they weren't polished. So they needed polish. So that's what I did. I went ahead and polished the frets. What we're gonna do now is polish up these frets. Some grade quadruple zero steel wool. So we're not gonna go up and down the frets because that puts scratches on the frets that are this way. And when you bend the strings, like I noted before, you feel that grittiness. So what we're actually going to do is go from left to right. Oh, one thing, this steel wool right here creates some metal flakes and you want to protect your pickups from those flakes. So what people often recommend is painter's tape. You just take a couple pieces of painter's tape, depending on your pickup, of course, and you just cover the pickup so that none of those metal flakes actually stick onto the pickup, because the pickup is magnetic and you don't want to get any metal in that or else it's going to corrode and possibly ruin the pickup. You can see that it's very dry. For oiling the fretboard, right now I'm going to be using this, which is F1 oil or phone oil. It's phone oil. You can also use something like mineral oil or lemon oil, something meant for like hardwood floors to condition wood. What I'm going to do is open it and put a couple drops on my microfiber cloth right here. 1, 2, 3. Can you see that? I hope you're able to see that. That looks so much better already. So this is the fretboard. See how different it looks. It looks so much better now. Holy moly. Now that I had all the cosmetic issues figured out and the tuners upgraded to where they're stable, we can start the setup of the Jazzmaster. And the most important thing, the most crucial piece of a Jazzmaster setup is the neck angle. Jazzmasters are meant to have a pitched back neck, and what that means is the neck pocket right here is generally flat. They sand it, 90 degrees to the side right here, it's flat. And what that does is it means your bridge has to be almost, if not completely, on the body in order to get your action to be correct or comfortable or anything near playing. The action is how high the string sits off the fretboard, and the action is adjusted with the bridge height. The neck shim that is put in between the bottom of the neck and the top of the body right here allows the neck to pitch back just ever so slightly. It allows it to be pitched back, which means we increase the break angle over the bridge. Now that is incredibly important because another common complaint of Jazzmasters is how the strings slip out of the bridge when you play with any sort of force. And what happens, why that is a problem, is because the neck angle is too flat to get a proper break angle for the string over these saddles right here on the bridge. So the first thing that I did was I took the full neck pocket neck shim from StewMac and I inserted it in between the neck and the body. And I knew that this was going to be necessary because when I got the guitar, the bridge was sitting directly on the body, which is not good. That's not how Jazzmasters should be. This is a StewMac set of full neck pocket neck shims, 0.25 degree, half a degree, and then I think on my other Jazzmaster I have the 0.75 degree or maybe a full degree. I'm not exactly sure. The strings start back here on the vibrato tailpiece. They then go to the bridge here, which sits in these holes. The string travels from the tailpiece over the bridge and then down to the nut. Now what we have in this guitar specifically, and a lot of Jazzmasters that aren't set up properly, is we have this bridge resting on the body. And what we want is to raise this bridge up. Not a whole bunch, but we want to take this bridge and raise it up. Now how do we do that? Without neck shimming, if we just raise the bridge, the strings go up. They go up this way, and then you have to press down harder on the fretboard to actually fret a note. That's not good because that makes it more difficult to play and it pulls your guitar out of tune. So what we do to compensate is we take a shim. We put a shim in between the top of the neck pocket where the neck sits in and then the bottom of the neck. So it will go neck shim, and then pocket. And what this does is angles this neck back just a tiny bit. It pitches the neck back, requiring the bridge to now raise to get to a playable position. And that's exactly what we want. And oftentimes, like I said before, just the neck shim is the root of all the issues or complaints that people have with the Jazzmaster, Jaguar, and all of the other similar style builds from Fender or other companies. This is how the neck fits in to the body stock. What we need to do is we need to angle the front, the very bottom of this neck pocket, back just a little bit, like that. Take our shims, these are the two shims stacked together, and we need to put the thick ends down. You can barely see this, but this little shim will now let us take the bridge, raise it, and then ultimately get a better playing guitar. So another thing I wanted to say is that this guitar will definitely need intonated because this bridge, you can see all the saddles are pushed to one side. This is the side that sits towards the bottom, so it's definitely gonna need intonated. But now that we have the shims in, we will be able to elevate this bridge to get it actually off the body. So now that we have the neck shim in place, which creates that pitchback, now we have to set the bridge height. And what I did was I took this tool, a Baroque, right here. It's a really cheap string action roller that I got off Amazon. StewMac makes a similar thing. I'll leave some links in the description below. But what this also has is this little grid right here that tells you approximately where to set the height of your action on electric guitar. Now, this is by no means a hard rule. It often comes down to the player's preference. So what I did was I started with these measurements. So on the first string, which is the high E, we're gonna be about 1 to 1.5 millimeters. And then on the sixth string, which is the low E, we're gonna be about 1.5 to 2 millimeters. Now what I did was I kind of evened it out to about 1.5 millimeters. What you do is you take an Allen wrench to adjust your bridge height in the posts. Now, one thing that, again, I ran into myself, and you might run into as well, is that when you're adjusting the height of your string, the strings vibrate. You know, they're always vibrating when you're playing, and that creates vibration in the bridge. And what might happen is the bridge posts, the things that raise or lower the bridge, they might start to thread in and your bridge lowers every time you play. So what I had to do actually, and what I recommend, is getting a little bit of blue thread locker from Loctite. You can use just a tiny dab of it on the threads of these posts. I use that on the screws inside the post here, and that worked out really well. So now I can set my string height, and when I'm playing, the bridge isn't moving back down towards the body because that Loctite, the thread locker, is holding everything in place. So let me know in the comments below if you've ever owned a Jazzmaster and if you've run into these common issues of string slipping and unstable tuning, stuff like that. Let me know that in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe to the channel, check out all the other gear demos I have here. And if you want to follow me on a daily basis and interact with me a little bit more, you can head on over to Instagram and follow me at Eric Merrow. I want to send a huge thank you to these folks right over here who are my executive producers from my Patreon page. I really appreciate all the support. I cannot thank you enough. Y'all are my Patreon fam. If you would like to learn more about Patreon, I'll leave a link in the description below. So thank you so much for the support. Thank you for watching. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying safe, and I will see you in the next video.